Australian bushfire crisis. I live in the Blue Mountains, which is west of Sydney. The Blue Mountains, if you didn't know, is part of the Great Dividing Range, and thus a national park. We are quite literally surrounded by fires from the north to the south. At any moment the wind could change, and could wipe out potentially hundreds of homes, mine included. We have never seen anything this big before. Fires are normal for us, but this scale of fires is absolutely insane. However, I want to thank the rest of the world got their generosity at this times. It is truly heartwarming to see so many people give support from all corners of the globe. Peace be with you, and I hope the rain heads our way. Remember, the firefighters that are fighting the bushfires aren't full-time firefighters. They have jobs like accountants, etc. and do this as volunteers. They use up their annual leave to fight the fires, or if they have a understanding boss, leave without pay. I tip my hat to anyone that does this. It is weird being in a town at the center of international news coverage. We have all been walking around town, not caring what day it is, or where we are meant to be. I spent almost a full 24 KOing that my dad was defending his property, but not KOing whether he was okay. I spent night without power, internet, water, or phone reception. Every road to our north and south were closed due to fire. We were hearing of people we knew driving their cars into the lake to escape. I passed midnight in my car, with ABC radio playing, eating a Christmas cookie, and drinking warm white wine. I heard the radio announce a man had died a few kilometers to my north. Dad was a few kilometers to my north. We turned on the BBQ the next day to cook up meat that was going bad quickly. I had his ute at our place. He had already evacuated his valuables. We had the door open and ABC radio on. My dad walked up and made a snide remark about leaving his car idling. His eyes were really blue, and I could tell he had been crying. He never cries. But at least he wasn't dead. And the farm had been saved. He stopped it with a rake. Thousands upon thousands of tourists fleeing the town by car. One lady had been in her car since 630. It was 430 the next morning by the time they moved. 22 hours, not including the 2 hours she had to go before reaching her destination. Usually a 3H trip. Then, later that week, Dad came to our house for the day because we had power back. He got a call in the afternoon. Could he come back home? Because the farm was on fire again. The roads were blocked, and he was stuck. He almost drove through a creek in his trade van trying to get there despite my pleas. It was about 8 hours of not KOing if the property would be okay. During that time, fires flared up on two sides of my own house, so we bounced between hosing my yard and worrying about the farm. Just after midnight, an old neighbor of Dad's stopped in and told us the house had been saved. We had a cuppa and talked for an hour about what the FCK had just happened this week. Comparatively, we got off so easy, but it was still the scariest week of my life. Edit. Forgot to add, usually my town is buzzing with tourists this year. While it's nice to get a parking spot in town, the ghostly quietness is choking our small businesses. Edit 2. Not allowed to shout out specific Insta handles, so have removed the name of the startup who is promoting bushfire affected businesses. I hope this isn't a stupid question or ignorant, but how did these start? Do we know? As a Californian, I thought our wildfires are bad, but this is nothing compared to Australia. It's the most apocalyptic thing I've seen. As an Australian, I want to thank the international community for acknowledging the extent of this crisis and their ongoing support. I'm not directly affected by the fires, but it's amazing to see complete strangers across the world donate to our charities and send firefighters to help us and the animals during this time. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Edit. Thank you for all the comments and support. I agree, our government should be doing more, and it's a shame that we have to resort to asking for help. I hope our government is held accountable. As others have said, many other countries are faced with devastating floods or other disasters due to climate change. Please, let's make an effort to be better and challenge those in power to do better. Climate change is real. We have one planet. Let's take care of it. I'm working in a town that was evacuated, but we didn't lose a single building. The surrounding towns were hit hard, and we lost power and phone reception for a week. The whole experience was terrifying as we grappled with the predictions for the 4th of January which, if they were right, would have flattened the town. There's going to be a lot of trauma to sift through, just based on those experiences alone, but the major threat to the town is the economic implications. Every business here was gearing up for our tourist season and had stock ready for our biggest week of the year, New Year's. The butcher immediately had to offload a crazy amount of stock just to keep the town fed while we were cut off. Our local pub lost so much in food and revenue, and the story is the same for every restaurant and small business here. These businesses rely on the tourist season to make enough profit to survive winter, and that's just not going to happen this year. Remember what your contributions mean to the local economy. Will donating food mean that people will be spending less at the local shops? There are definitely going to be locations that need your support that way, but those will be evacuation centers. In the coming months, the people here will be looking at how to rebuild long term and how they are going to survive winter. If you get the chance this year, regardless of season, please visit Birmingham, NSW and the surrounding towns. Come and buy some innocuous crap at the souvenir shops. Buy a stupid amount of meat from the butcher. Eat at the many amazing options we've got. Every town in southeastern NSW is going to be in the same position. Being set to evacuate all the tourists has put all of these towns on the chopping block. The residents being evacuated sucked as well, but doesn't have the same far-reaching implications. Everyone in this town stood up to protect each other. The businesses in town immediately knew the implications of this but they didn't even blink before giving everything they had. I know for a fact that the butcher could have kept the majority of their stock cool using generators and a refrigerated truck, but instead immediately began supplying the town with food to cook on barbecues. While everyone was packed into the town center, the pub and club refused to serve alcohol to not inflame the situation any further. These people could have profited off this event. They could have at least come out of this in a better financial position than they are now. Instead, they did as much as they could, as fast as they could. Please support Southeast New South Wales in the coming years. Bring your families and inject money into our economy directly. Be amazing.